Hey, what is up? We're round two now because I'm still learning how to use Facebook 5 years later. Hi, Roshanda. I'm so excited to have Roshanda Pratt here with me today. She's going to fill you in on a little bit about her, but she is a total rock star. She's been in media for years and years and years. And one of the things that she does now is helps influencers gain exposure on their local media channels and helps them get eyeballs on them, right? Like, isn't that like the most challenging thing to do when we're using social media with all the algorithms and all that kind of stuff? It's really challenging to get eyeballs on you. And that's really, if you've got a good message, that's what you need. So Roshanda, thank you so much for being here today and taking the time. I appreciate you more than you know.
Christina, I love you. Like I am a total groupie. I'm going to become a fangirl and the president of Christina. I'm the president. Love you and thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, I'm so please. Can you tell people a little bit about you and what you do, and then we'll get into a conversation about it.
Sure. So I'm known in the digital streets as the Rose Show Live, and I help women as a visibility coach create visibility through live video and traditional media pitching for their local news. I believe that your visibility is power, and you need to be seen, heard, and paid.
Oh, don't you ever. And that's the whole point, is that when you have a message to get out, what do?
Mhm.
You find people that have secret superpowers that can connect you in different networks and different places
Yeah.
so that you would get exposure that you wouldn't necessarily get. So,
Hmm.
can you talk a little bit about like your background and how did you get into media? Like, how did you get in producing? Like, what drove you to that?
It would be my dad. So my mom and dad are from the beautiful country of Trinidad and Tobago. And I often tell people I've been a journalist since the fourth grade. And it all happened because my dad is a strong believer in community and you being aware. So when I was in the fourth
Yes.
grade, he told me, as an American citizen, it's my duty and responsibility to know what's going on in my country and my community. So while my friends were watching the Smurfs and Rainbow Bright, I was watching Tom Brokaw and Peter Jennings.
I can imagine being a little kid sitting there and just like taking it all in.
Like taking it all in. Like this is great. And back in those times, there was only one television, one remote, and 9 times out of 10, your parents had control of it. So I'm just like, whether I liked it or not, I'm like, okay, this is what he's watching. I better watch it. And it really started this whole thought and passion for storytelling, but also to be aware and educating people on what's happening in my community. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be a writer. I didn't know it was journalism until I got to high school. And as you can imagine, was a really great student, but always had somewhere on my report card, she's a great student. She just talks too much. So a
Like
friend
I
said
said,
to me,
I think that's just leadership. That is just when you're in high school and you talk too much, it's called leadership.
I agree. So a friend saw my leadership abilities and said, "Hey, come and join me on this campus video magazine." And I said, "Okay, let's try it." And I fell in love with it. And I said, "Yeah, I want to become a journalist." And I went to college, Winthrop University, go Eagles, and I majored in mass communication. And I really just fell in love. I decided in freshman year of college, I am going to take over Oprah's job. She's
I
going to have to
love it.
retire someday. And I'm taking over. I'm going to Chicago and I'm taking over all the things,
I
right?
love that vision, Roshanda. I love that that's where you saw yourself. That's
That's where I
amazing.
saw myself. So in college, if you talk to anybody who knew me in college, they would tell you I had a casual corner suit. I always wore suits to class because I'm a journalist and I am
Of
a reporter.
course.
And I had the nice, partly anchor hair. It was a real deal, Holyfield. And I was really serious about this profession. And so I got my first opportunity at my first real paying TV job. It was awards night for seniors, and I received outstanding senior of my department. And in true Rashonda Pratt fashion, I'm just not going to take the reward and go sit down. I made a whole Emmy speech. And everybody in there was laughing and just like, okay, this is typical Rashonda. But I didn't know my future boss was in the audience. And so he came up to me
Wow.
afterwards and he said,
Wow.
"Here's my card." He says, "I want you to give me a call on Monday because I have an opportunity for you." And he's
Wow.
become a dear friend over the years, but he gave this college kid her first break. It was a bad shift. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I was in there like 3 a.m. on a weekend. So love life didn't really exist for a couple of years because
Yeah.
I was in love with the TV station, but he gave me my first big break, and I learned so much at that station. It was a top 30 market. So TV stations are rated, ranked by market. So it was a top 30 market, a big NBC station. We actually had the
Wow.
NBC news channel next door that dispenses all the news to all the NBC stations across the country. So, and we covered major news in two states, North Carolina and South Carolina. So I often tell people it was the baptism by fire that first year, because everything that could have happened in the world happened my 4 years working at the TV station. So Ray Caruth, which was a former Carolina Panther, accused of hiring a hitman to kill his then pregnant girlfriend, covered
Oh.
that story. 9/11. I actually had just gotten off my shift, and Christina, I'll never forget this. Never
I
forget this.
can't even imagine.
And I was talking to my son's class about this. I just the night before was working the overnight shift. So I moved from the weekends. I quickly moved from a news assistant to an associate producer to a producer within 6 months. And just got off the night shift, 11 p.m. to about 10 that morning. Maybe actually I came home a little bit early, which is really
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah, why would you go home early that day?
Right. So I'm sleeping, and my roommates who had regular jobs, Christina, I lived with people who were school teachers and music instructors. And here's the journalist. So
And
they
you're
never
living at
understood
night
my
like a
schedule.
vampire.
Right. They never
Yeah.
understood my schedule. They didn't understand this life of news. They didn't get it. So they're really great friends. They just tolerated it. And so my music major friend comes knocking on my door to wake me up, because apparently my phone is going off and my pager's going off, but I'm in deep sleep. I just got off work and I'm ready to go to bed. And she says, Erica, which is a fellow producer, she's like, Erica's on the phone and she's talking something about a plane crash. My friend, it was like telephone. She couldn't even report the news accurately. And I said, what are you talking about? And she says, Erica is on, she keeps calling and she's telling me to wake you up. She's like, I don't know what's going on. She said, turn on NBC, the Today Show. And I said,
Right.
okay. So we're standing in the living room,
Oh.
and I turn on the Today Show. Katie Couric was on, and they have a double box, much like where we are right now. I'm setting the
Yep.
scene for you. And Katie Couric is talking, and as she's talking, we see the second plane hit live on TV. And I see Katie Couric trying to hold it together, because as an anchor, remember your word, your name is anchor. So you have to anchor all of this together and keep your emotions together. And I turned to my friend, and I remember going like this. And the banner, and news is happening in real time, and they're also trying to figure out what's happening. And I turned to my friend and I said, do you understand what's going on? And my friend is totally dumbfounded, because again, she's not understanding this. I said, we're under attack. And the news is happening. I'm calling my friend Erica, because at this point in time, I'm up, and the first thing I think about is I'm going to be living at the station for a couple of weeks. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your life is over now.
my life is over. So I
Yeah.
start packing a bag, literally start packing a bag. My friend's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm packing because I don't know what this looks like. So I finally get in contact with the TV station and my news director and said, do you need me to come in? He says, I do not need you to come in yet, because we don't even know what's happening yet. He says, however, I need you to get some rest, and I'm going to call you back about 2 o'clock or later on this afternoon, because I may need you to come in early. And I remember we covered that story around. We sent a reporter, one of our local reporters, to New York. Um, it was just really tough. I remember, when President Bush decided that he was going to declare war, we had this big manual about this, learning everything about Pakistan and Afghanistan and Iraq. And we had to learn the terms, and we had to learn about terrorism. That's when we first encountered what terrorism
Wow.
meant and what that word is, and
Wow.
Al Qaeda. And we had to learn this as journalists, and we would have meetings, and we would, okay, what does terrorism mean? And just learning these new terms. And you guys, we really didn't even have social media then. We just had
Yeah.
a website, and we're giving the information. And so covering that, and then covering Dale Earnhardt Sr. when he crashed at Lowe's Motor Speedway with NASCAR, and the Confederate flag, just all of these big stories. And I'm just thinking, like, is the world on fire? How is this happening in 4 years?
Oh my gosh. Well, could you imagine being in the news now? today?
That is something that, so I left television 2 years. So I've been removed out of TV now for 2 years. And I could not imagine, because what people don't understand, I'm going to speak on the local level, that a lot of those local journalists, especially when things happen in the community that they live in, they shop in, their kids go to school in, they take that to heart. I think about, for me here in South Carolina, one of our big stories the last 4 years was the shooting at Mother Emanuel. Dylan Ruth spent time with these people, was invited into their Bible study. They prayed with him, and then he took out a gun and started shooting the people inside of their church. And that was tough. So I remember covering
that's a community, that. Like that's community grief is what you're dealing with. Grief. And you're part of that community while you're reporting the news.
That's exactly right. And so I remember we went wall-to-wall coverage. I worked 13 hours that first day. And I remember my producer, I was the executive producer at the time, and my producer says, I need a break. And so she went in the bathroom, and I caught her in the bathroom crying because of just horrific, you're getting the details.
Like trying to put it all together yourself. And then you guys are the ones that are pulling the stories together and trying to make sense of it all when you're getting all of this information. Plus, you have to keep your emotions in check, which I don't even know, especially like if you know these people. Like, or a friend of a friend or whatever, right? There's a couple of things that I want to point out that I think is really important, is that when you were a young child, your dad made it your responsibility to have community awareness.
Yeah.
I think that is without getting emotional, I think that's a very important thing for people to be aware of now. I think having a community awareness and realizing that you may not be able to change anything that's going on in the world, but what you can do is make an impact in your local community and be aware of what's going on.
Christina, I love that you said that. And I love that you said you honed in on that, because that piece of what my dad taught me in the 4th grade has been the driving force of my professional career as a journalist. Every day that I sat in front of my computer, this is what I would ask myself. What does my community need to know? And how can I educate them on that? That has always been the tenet and my driver. And here's the thing. I still use that same thought when it comes to what do I post on social media? How do I engage in this digital space? How do I show up on live stream? It's still, what do my community need to know? And then how can I make them better from what they need to know? And so that's such powerful, because people need community.
It's so important. We're made to have community. I've seen I'm looking at the Facebook comments, and it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but there are moments in our life that we never forget that make an impact, that like you can recite from the memory, right? Like I know exactly where I was when I heard about Princess Di dying. I know exactly where I was for 9/11. There's certain things that you integrate into your memory, because that was such a massive impact. And so let's kind of, switch paces a little bit on that and talk a little bit about, those, if that's what you focus on how to educate people, and, I'm huge. Provide value. You may be in a business and you're trying to make money, you're trying to create an income or whatever it is, but I am so all about value-driven sales and educating people. It's not about take, but hey, what can I give today that is going to make somebody's life better or easier or be a little bit helpful to them? So how have you taken, working in the news and then transferred those skills into helping people get online and talking about like how to create that social story, how to show up professionally, how to be the person that gets the attention?
Such a great question. I think it goes back to this mantra that we have in our company, that visibility is power. You deserve to be seen, heard, and paid. And so sometimes what I realize, the hiccup or the problem is, people haven't even embraced the value of themselves. Right. They haven't even embraced the value of their own message. I have on this shirt that says messenger, right? But you'll see the first 4 words are highlighted as mess. Sometimes your message contains the mess. But what's powerful about that is you can take the mess and turn it into a powerful message. So having people understand how to really lean into that, how to really understand the value in their own visibility. You got to show up for your own party. Yeah. You got to show up for
Yeah.
your people, and people are looking for you to show up.
Yeah, and you got to show up consistently, right? Like if you are here and
Mm-hmm.
there and everywhere, then often people don't know where to look, and they are apt to go after people that are consistent because they trust them, right? Because people do business
Mm-hmm.
with people they know, like, and trust. And so
Right.
if you're showing up with value every day and there's somebody else that's doing the same thing as you, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not showing up every day, who's going to get more exposure? Who's going to have more success? It's the person that's getting the exposure.
Right.
So what can you tell people that are working in the online space if they are working on growing their network or their exposure?
Mm-hmm.
What would be a couple of the things that they should work on?
Sure. First and foremost, you embrace that your visibility is power. You got to understand, I have to show up. And showing up is not, oh, I have to be here, I have to be here, I have to be
Right.
here. Those are exercises of visibility, but it's really showing up in the spaces and places that your people need you, right? Showing up in the spaces and places that your people need you. The second thing is, once you decide to show up, what are you showing up with? What's the value of your message? I think a lot of times people focus so much on their story, right? And they don't understand something that Dr. Cheryl Wood says all the time. She says, your story is about you, but it's not for you. Let me say that again.
Yes.
Your story
Yes.
is about you, but it is not for you. So I have to understand that I have to create a message that may be about me, but I'm not the hero of the story. The hero of the story is the people that I get an opportunity to connect with. And if you understand that, I'm telling you, you're well on your way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well on your way, right? Understanding that this message, it has me in the focal point, but it's about them out there. Because
Yes.
what sense does it make for me to get on social media, live video, or even pitch local media, and you're in there telling all your stuff, but it doesn't resonate or connect with the people that you're called to serve and really impact? So you have to understand how to align the message to the people that you're called to serve. And I'm going to give you a way to do that. Now, listen,
Okay. Woo!
I'm sharing this because I love my girl Christina. I know we just met. I've already proposed to her offline, right? And this is top notch, but I'm sharing this with you. So how do you figure out what that message is? Four things that I learned from being a television news journalist. What do people love? What do they hate? What do they fear? What do they hope for? What does your
Ooh.
audience love? What is it that
Ooh.
they hate? What is it that they fear? And what is it that they hope for? What are those areas? If you turn on your local news at any point in time, at any point of given part of the day, you will see those four things. What do people love? They love puppies and cute kids. What do they hate? I hate the fact that my taxes are going up. And
Yep.
I hate COVID-19,
Yeah.
depending on where you are in the world, right? What
Yes.
do they fear? Oh my gosh, my kid is not doing e learning. Will they be able to get into college? What do they hope for? I'm hoping that we'll be able to go back to some kind of normalcy. See, if you understand those four things right there,
Wow. Yeah.
love, hate, fear, hope, you'll be able to create a story that resonates with the people that you're called to impact, influence, and eventually get income from.
Oh gosh, there were so many good golden nuggets in that sentence and like that whole segment. I'm just like, wow, my head's exploding because I know how important it is. Like one of the first things before I started applying for TED Talks, what do you have to do?
Mm,
Get your message. You need to
yeah.
hone it in. You need to know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, then it's something that you really need to work on. How are
Hmm.
you helping people? What are you going to do? What problem are you going to solve?
Right.
And then when you have that, can you explain a little bit about how you help people get in, like take that message and get into media platforms and how
Sure.
they would, like, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
what you actually do.
Sure. So, as a visibility coach, leveraging this live video and this traditional media pitching, here's what I want you to do. Now, if you hang around with me, Christina, every kind of example I'm going to give you is going to center around food. I like to eat. Can I get a
I
witness?
like to
Anybody
eat
else?
too.
I like food.
We are going to be best friends.
Okay. I like food. So, you want to build your media like a sandwich. Envision that. Unless you're on a low carb diet, everybody has usually two slices of bread. Okay.
Right.
So one slice of bread is going to represent your new media. That's podcasting, live streaming, YouTube. Okay. And then you have your other slice of bread that will represent, the old school media, which is radio, print, television. Those things still work. The meat in the middle is your story. The condiments, lettuce, pickle, tomatoes, mayo, those are all the things that support your story. You put that sandwich together using new media, using old school media, and your sandwich, your meat in the middle, your story, you got a nice sandwich. That's how you want to build your visibility, using both, not one or the other. It's using both. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
how do we use that? So then I work with clients and helping them understand how to use this live video, live streaming platform. We create the story, we create the narrative, we understand how they show up as the expert and the authority in their industry. And now we start to take that to the live video, because what we know is journalists are doing a Google search to find out, are you who you say you really are? Right? 20 years in TV, having the internet, I'm going to Google you. Okay?
I bet you want to know what you're getting into.
Right. You're a business coach, but I go to your page and I see nothing about business coaching. Then you're probably not who you say that you are, and I'm not going to bring you on my television, right? So then we're creating this relationship using that live video. And then how do we pitch them? We pitch them according to what we know that they want. So it's research, it's understanding their audience, it's understanding how I pitch a morning show is very different in how I pitch an evening show, and how I pitch an evening show is very different in how I pitch a weekend show. And so it's understanding how to position yourself, not just for one media appearance, but how to make a producer fall in love with you, that they're just like, I need you again and again and again.
I think
And that is what we do.
Every influencer needs you in their life, I think. Like, I'm just like, sorry, tell me more. I think we need to have a conversation off camera about all of this.
Yes, it's totally possible, because we know, and here's the thing, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. We have a pandemic going on, and a lot of TV stations may not bring you in because of that. But here's what I'm telling you. I'm still booking media across the country. Because here's the thing. I have a studio right here in my home. And that's the other thing I talk to clients about. Like, you should have a studio. That's a tip for you. You should have a studio. It's not getting ready, it's staying ready. So that's way, right. Whether I'm in Spokane, whether I'm speaking in Canada, wherever it is, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Just tell me what time to be there, and I'm ready to present my information and stand as the expert and the authority as I am. So it's not me trying to get ready. No, I'm prepared. You just tell me what you need me to do. And so a lot of the TV stations we've been working with clients are just like, have they ever done TV before? Sure. Here's their roster. We're doing this in the virtual space. Are they ready? Oh, they sure are. Take a look at some of their Facebook Lives. Oh, wow. They got a great background. They got great audio and sound. Yeah, because we're already ready.
Right.
And that's what makes the difference.
Oh, I feel like you were born ready. I feel like you were born ready, and I think that that's something that comes with confidence. When you know your message, when you know what you stand for, you are so confident. You can talk to anybody about that topic for 30 minutes, no problem, right? When you live that in alignment. And so I love that you help people get their message out. I really appreciate all of the tips and helpfulness that you were today on this live video. And I look forward to communicating with you afterwards and coming up with a plan, because I think having that old school and new school is really important, especially, when you're trying to grow your network, because so many people start from scratch and they don't realize, hey, like, you have been able to grow a great following because of your network, because of your past.
Yes.
And sometimes people have to start at scratch because they don't have that network. They don't have all of those things. And that's okay. It's part of the process. But when you come to a point in time that you've got your message, or you want to work to perfect your message and you want to get it out there, having someone like you in their back pocket, oh my goodness, I couldn't even imagine. Like the difference is, because when you hire a professional, look, so many people won't do it because they'll just be like, oh, I'll eventually get on TV.
Right.
But this is the difference. The people that take action, especially when there's chaos going on in the world and they see an opportunity to take action and be the difference, those are the people that are making things happen right now. Much like you saying, like, people be like, oh, I can't do live presentations, or I'm not going to conferences, or I'm not doing all these things. Well, everything is virtual. So stop making excuses and connect with the people that you need to and get your message out, right?
Right. And here's the thing about this that's so powerful. I learned this at my last station. you know, at my last station, we were coming into the cusp of, we had social media, Christina, but we were coming into this space of live streaming. And I was a very much an early adopter when live streaming started. And we developed this whole thought of, we want to win people on the big screen and the small screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
We developed this attitude, and that's what we drove. Our news director would tell us every day, okay, guys, we're doing this on TV, but what are we doing online? What are we doing? So TV stations understand this. And if you adopted that, going back to the sandwich, that I want to win my customers, I want to win my visibility on the big screen, but also on the small screen. I mean, it's a game changer. I mean, you want to be everywhere.
Absolutely.
Makes a difference.
Wow, that is really impactful. And I think so many people are focusing on social media and don't realize that there's another tool that they could be using. I mean, obviously people are doing podcasts and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
but you know, they're still getting in their cars and listening to the radio. They're still tuning in to different websites or whatever
right.
to get their news. So thank you so much. Where can people find you?
So you can find me across social media everywhere as The Rose Show Live. That's TheRoSholive, The Rose Show Live. And I would love an opportunity if you follow me over on Clubhouse, but also
I love
on
Clubhouse.
Instagram specifically. I love Clubhouse, right?
Oh, I'm
But
obsessed.
specifically on Instagram, we have a complimentary strategy session where we would love to talk to you about your visibility profile and how you can become more visible this year.
Oh, I love it. I'm totally going to take advantage of that. And I appreciate you being here today, Roshanda. It really means a lot to me. And these conversations are so important, you know,
Sure.
getting your information out to other people and helping people connect in a way that is going to help them grow a business or grow their brand. And I think that that's brilliant. So thank you so much for being here today.
You're so welcome. I'm grateful to be here.
Okay. We'll see you soon. Okay. Take care.
Yep.